Hey everyone, Brian Good here for Storm Talk. It's not going to be an overly detailed Storm Talk today because unfortunately my time is limited, and so I won't be able to go into a lot of the model data. But as far as the wild, nerdy stuff that you guys usually see, but I'll give you the overall setup. Here is the boundary that came through yesterday. It is about to, and it is already lifting to the north, more so on the western side, where that flow from the southwest is stronger ahead of the actual surface low, which is now beginning to move into the Midwest. That we'll be dealing with for tomorrow, at least as far as the front attached to it. Locally, we've been tracking this band of rain throughout the morning period. You can see it lifting northbound. Notice it is not a solid band. It's starting to break up, in fact, as it moves toward Louisville. So, yes, some of you may not get a lot of rain out of this. Some of you may get quite a bit, especially to the south, where it's feeding on that east-west boundary that was there earlier in the period. You may see some heavier showers and thunderstorms. Now, notice what's happening to the south of the boundary. You're already starting to see some pop-ups there as we're getting unstable as soon as the sun comes back out again. So there's a chance that even though we get this first band through, and you may get skipped with this first band, we will likely see more little pop-ups behind it all the way into the afternoon. So we'll keep the rain chance in there as a result of that. But at least we got a chance for some of you to get some decent rain this morning, but not all of you. Let me be clear on that. As far as the outlook today, Storm Prediction Center, marginal risk. This is going to be more later today in this evening. I'll get into that in a second. Louisville's not in that, by the way. Breaking it down more, potential for large hail, very small chance for that. Damaging winds. That's your main threat if they get going. Instability is showing up, especially, and this is pretty much the area where they drew it. Instability in the charts I've been looking at is elevated in this area. There's not a lot of wind shear in our area. That's mainly found up here way to our north, closer to where the front's lifting. And even downdraft Cape is not that impressive here locally, although if we get hotter than expected, or warmer than expected, that could certainly change. So keep that in mind. Tornado potential. Not here, but just to our west. And I actually agree with that because some of the latest data coming in is good support here for some supercell type structures to develop later on today that will emerge out of Missouri into Illinois, likely becoming more Boeing segments before they fade out. The question is, on the path of the cells should be more northeast, but if they get Boeing segments on them, they very well could turn more to the southeast, and that could be our rain chance for Louisville especially, which would be later on for the evening period into the overnight. But again, we're not in a major zone today for anything big. It's going to be pop-ups, isolated stuff, some areas to monitor, but some could get strong, and a warning or two could get issued. So we can't let our guard down completely, but would not adjust your plans. Now, tomorrow, slight risk is drawn all the way through here. Now, I will say the shear showing up in the models is elevated in this general area. This is the zone here that stands a decent chance, especially if we get some heating, for some stronger thunderstorms. They drew it all the way to the south. There's not as much shear showing up there, but there is a good amount of instability in this entire zone, so it could be half and half as far as the potential here. Either way, I think they're just being cautious on it, and I think it's a good move to make. And these kind of setups just make everybody aware, and then and just trend it. It's the best you can do when all you have is models to trust this far out. Speaking of that, let's cover that. Here is the hard model. Good handle on stuff moving in this morning. Shows it all breaking up through the midday, early afternoon. Then for the afternoon, it gets warm, close to 90. Now, I wouldn't rule out that we hit 90 again today. I'm tempted to raise that. I'll let Christy decide, but I'm tempted to raise it. And then we get those cells that begin to pop toward the evening, those supercells. But it takes all the activity mainly to the northeast. It doesn't really congeal them enough to become more of a what we call Boeing segments or structures to move in our direction. Of course, the herd model can only see this far out to 11 o'clock, so we really don't know what would happen with these cells after that point, but at least it tells us that the main shell today is still likely to be north and west of us. RPM model, again, not bad. Initialization shows it weakening, also shows us pushing 90 or so today. And then this evening, it shows that the cells move quickly east, but look how, I mean, you can even see on the detail of this model, I love this, you can see how the individual cells become Boeing segments as far as a broken area of thunderstorms, and likely will begin to pull southeast. In fact, it shows that very trend. Pulls them southeast. They will fade as they get away from the upper air supports in the shear, but they very well could impact Indiana. So Indiana, I got to watch you guys for this evening and parts of the overnight for maybe some stronger thunderstorms and severe weather. And again, that makes sense why you are in the marginal risk for that very reason.
If you're south of the Ohio River, I just don't see a lot really happening for you guys today. Or really tonight, for that matter. Now, tomorrow, we've been saying this all week. Are we going to break out in sun or not? Because the front speed and when we break out in sun got to be meshed just right to determine where the storms will rapidly, and they will rapidly develop tomorrow. So the morning hours looks quiet, but as we do the afternoon, the RPM model's been struggling. This morning when I got here, it was developing the thunderstorms over in this area, so it skipped Louisville completely. Now it's trending a little further to the west. I think this is going to keep fluctuating in a few counties either way, but a few counties makes a big difference in your plans and impact on Saturday. But at this point, the RPM is showing it initializing very close to Louisville, and then continues to the east, and then we clear out in beautiful weather when we wake up on Sunday morning. So that would explain why we have the slight risk again in this general zone, although if that westward trend continues, they may have to push it west, but there's no sense in doing that yet. It's too early. Beyond this, I will say we have another front that's going to work its way in about next Thursday. Will cool us down from a north-northeast direction for maybe a day or two. We warm back up, and then I see another front dipping down around close to the 18th that very well could send our temperatures down again with more periods of rain. So I think our rain chances are actually going to go up in the coming weeks. A lot of ups and downs temperature-wise. Are we done with the 90s? Well, we could hit it today. We could hit it tomorrow, so I'm not going to say that today. But hopefully this gives you a general idea. I know it's tough on time. You get so much going on all these events. I understand it's frustrating. Just stay close to the Wave 3 Weather app. We're going to keep updating the hourly forecast, especially as we see the trend on the radar. We're going to try to update these rainfall chances the best we can. So stay close to the forecast. And, of course, Andy is going to have much more on the setup coming up tonight, beginning at 5 o'clock, and Christy Willsdale midday. So we'll catch you then. Have a good weekend. I will see you on Monday.